Mr. Chairman, distinguished judges, accurate timekeepers, fellow debaters, audience all, I stand before you in the second speaker's position today to strengthen the opposition's argument against the motion. Be it resolved that parenthood should be considered a privilege and not a right. But before I begin my argument, allow me to refute one of the points made by my opponents. In the case of Sarah, who was abused very badly, forgive my coldness, but imagine that Sarah's parents happened to be privileged. On what grounds would this privilege have been considered? Education level, wealth, or social class? How does that stop the parent from abusing their child? The reference to law and justice has been mentioned by my opponents as a defense to parenthood being a privilege. But our domestic, regional, and international laws all clearly show that parenthood can be considered nothing but a right. Let us for a moment refer to a few aspects of the laws of our land. The Child Protection Act of Grenada, 1998, in the main deals with the removal of children from unsafe and abusive environments. This act clearly states that before a court can remove a child, it must consider two things in section 13 of the legislation. And I quote, the importance of the child's development of a positive relationship with a parent and the importance of blood ties, unquote. This emphasizes the parenthood right, not privilege, but right. I would like my worthy opponents to note, as I mentioned, that even in situations of abuse, the law recognizes and gives value to the rights of the parent. Furthermore, Mr. Chairman, the law supports parental rights in the area of physical discipline. Ordinarily, the use of force without consent is an assault and is unlawful. However, Grenada's criminal code does not prosecute parents who use force to discipline their children, provided the force is not excessive, as was the case for poor Sarah. This emphasizes the value that society attributes to the parenthood right to discipline their children. Once this right is not abused, it can be kept. The right to parenthood also has a global application. The United Nations Charter for the Rights of the Child expressly states, and I quote, that state parties shall respect the responsibilities, duties, and rights of the parent, unquote. And I repeat, Mr. Chairman, the duties and rights of the parent, not privilege, but right. Most honorable judges, how could the right of parenthood be disputed in the face of such compelling legal references? It is also clear, Mr. Chairman, that our value systems and social norms, which are common laws in themselves, are premised on the belief that parenthood is a right and not a privilege. Social norms dictate that parents have several responsibilities to their children. They must support their children economically, emotionally, and socially. They must send their children to school. They must provide shelter for their children and must refrain from abusing their children. All of these responsibilities of the parents have been assigned to them by society. And, Mr. Chairman, as we all know, responsibilities and rights go hand in hand. If parenthood were truly a privilege, then responsibilities would need not be assigned, for the parents would be already privileged and would apparently know what to do with their children. Nobody would question them. But since parenthood is in fact a right, the question of responsibilities has obvious relevance and application. And Mr. Chairman, isn't it intriguing and perhaps perplexing that the right to liberty is removed when one commits a crime and is thrown into jail? The precious right to life is removed when a person receives the death sentence. But no matter what happens, the right to parenthood, as my opponents correctly stated, can never be removed. Mr. Chairman, we the opposition submit that parenthood can never be considered a privilege. It is a right and should be considered so. I rest my case and leave you in the hands of the opposition's capable summary speaker.